Are you calling me mushrik here?
Yeah, you're
Nobody gave you that authority. Thanks a lot.
I'm a
you're not a Muslim. You're not a sheikh. You don't know anything about Islam.
I'm a sheikh.
You're not a sheikh.
Okay.
He just called me a disbeliever in Islam. That is definitely an insult. Thank you so much. We don't need your takfir. Keep it to yourself. You don't know the wabit of the takfir.
I do. You're not a Muslim anymore.
Let's get back to the point so that we don't escalate this any further.
He said he knows the dawabit of takfir. What are they?
You just committed shirk.
What are they?
You committed
shirk.
What
are
are
the dawabit of takfir?
You can't commit shirk.
What is that? You do not know. You are ignorant of the dawabit. We are caught you right now.
Can you be a Muslim and commit shirk?
Yes, you can. You can. Let me sit down. Sit down. Somebody who does shirk, bi'udar al-jahl. What about that?
This is why I didn't want to do this.
Udar al-jahl. Go ahead. What is it? What is udar al-jahl?
It's okay, man.
What's udar al-jahl?
You can be a Muslim and commit shirk.
Your ignorance, when you said you're a sheikh and you said I'm doing shirk and I'm a mushrik, not understanding what dawabit al-takfir even is. You don't even know what the word means. If a Muslim does shirk but he's ignorant of it, he's forced by it, there are many dawabit that he would still remain a Muslim. These are called dawabit al-takfir, which you are ignorant of.
Your own free will.
You are ignorant of dawabit al-takfir. That's why I said even if a Muslim does shirk, we don't say he's kafir, we don't say he's mushrik until those safeguards are put into place, which you are absolutely jahil of. So you do not know, you're not a sheikh, you do not know Islam.
Alright, so I kind of want to take a little bit of a different angle. I want to do this in a way that relates to you and your theology. So the Quran has names and titles of Allah that you would agree only apply to him. No creature, no angel, no prophet can claim these titles or else it would be what is called shirk or associating a partner with him. Just quickly, you agree with that?
That is incorrect.
It's incorrect?
It's incorrect.
So just because...
So do you want to get into Islamic aqidah? Because that's off the prompt.
No, it's not. It's tying into the point. Which is
okay, so do you want me to explain that point then? Because you're incorrect on it.
So you're saying so creatures can actually share in the names and titles of Allah?
Can I respond?
Please, it's a yes or no. Because
I'm not going to yes or no. If you're going to ask a question, I'm going to respond.
It sounds like a line of logic that he's trying to run by. So if you're asking for a yes or no, you can do a yes and I have a clarifier.
Exactly.
And then if you want to get through your thought on the line of logic and then offer the clarifier.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a clarifier, which is that there are certain sifat that are only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like Ar-Rahman, that cannot be used for any of the creation. But there are sifat like Rahim, which can be used for creation. Allah is wudud, He is loving. That doesn't mean that the creation are not loving. Of course, the characters of Allah are unique to Him, but there are some that the humanity does share in as well. Allah is living. We are all living, but the way Allah is living is unique to Him. So your base point was incorrect, and I hope that clarification helps.
It's not, because I didn't ask about whether or not we share in His attributes. Like, oh, I'm merciful, Allah's merciful, so yeah, we're both merciful. I didn't ask that. So, for example, can someone be called Al-Rahim?
Again, for Rahim, if you put the can I speak?
I didn't know.
Okay, I got you. So it seems like you're about to speak. So, like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Rahman. That is unique to Him. Nobody can be called, right? But even the indefinite al can be used with certain characteristics. For example, al-wudud, the most loving. But the way that it applies to Allah is unique to Him. But as you earlier said, that those are only for Him, that is incorrect. Some are shared, not just that they are merciful, very merciful, but to the level of Rahman, no.
Okay, so I'm not asking if we can be merciful similar to how Allah is. He's just more merciful than us. I'm asking about His specific titles. So He's called Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim, Al-Wadud, meaning the most loving. Can any creature share these titles? I'm not saying, oh, Allah's loving, I'm also loving. Can I be called the most loving? Can I be called the most merciful? Can I be called the living one, which is one of His names? Can I be called any of these things? Can any prophet claim these things? Any angel?
There's your point. Okay. Again, certain ones, no. And that's why you have to understand the nuance here, because you don't understand aqidah, right? Certain ones, no. Certain ones, yes. You can be the loving. Al-Wudud, the most loving. The most loving. Of course, amongst, go for it. Yeah. Amongst, for example, if I said these are all my kids, but this one, he's Al-Wudud. He is the most loving of them, right? That can be in that context. Let me. There you go. Right now, the clarification here is yes, even al can be used with certain things of the creation, but Allah is unique. Laysa kamithlihi shay. That is His level is unique to Him. But answer your question, yes. Even the infinite of al can be used.
Okay, so what you just did is you qualified. You said, the most loving of my children. I didn't ask that. I'm not asking, can someone use these terms in qualification of certain things? I mean, in general, outright absolute. Can someone claim themselves to be, in general, the most loving Al-Wadud? Yes or no?
Once again, I'm gonna
yes or no, please.
No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna
yes,
answer.
No,
I would say yes and or no and yes
exactly.
but.
Exactly. Please do not interrupt.
I know. Just answer straight away, please.
So again, that's why he's trying to run the line of logic, because that's where we're running into. That's how he's trying to get to his point.
I get that.
So yes and or no and.
Yes, and.
Okay.
So when we're talking about,
It's
for
over.
example, somebody
Shirk.
being very loving, are you calling me mushrik here?
Yeah, you're
Nobody
disbelieving.
gave you that authority. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot.
I'm a
Yeah,
sheikh,
you're not a Muslim. You're not a sheikh.
I'm a
You don't know
sheikh.
anything about Islam.
I'm a sheikh. You don't
You're
know.
not a sheikh.
Out
You're
of the
not a
meta,
sheikh.
let's get back to it.
Thank you. So please refrain from calling me a mushrik because that's an
What?
insult.
That's
Yeah.
that's
an
disbelief.
insult. Yeah,
How's that an insult?
That is definitely
I don't know
an
what that
insult.
word
Mushrik just means he's a
so-
disbeliever. That's all.
Okay.
He just called me a disbeliever in Islam. That is
Yes.
definitely an insult. Thank you
Okay.
so much. We don't need your takfir. Keep it to yourself. You don't know the wabit of takfir.
I do. You're not a Muslim anymore. You just
Let's get back to the point so that we don't escalate this any
He
further.
said he knows the dawabit of takfir. What are they?
You just committed shirk.
What are they?
You committed
What are
shirk.
dawabit of takfir?
You can't commit shirk.
What
and be a
is that?
Muslim.
You do not know. You are ignorant
Can you
of
be
the
a Muslim and
dawabit.
commit
We
shirk?
are caught you right now.
Can you be a Muslim and commit shirk?
Yes. Yes, you can. You can. Let me sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Somebody who does shirk, they're udar al-jahl. What about that?
This is why I didn't want to do this.
Udar al-jahl. Go ahead. What is it?
No,
What is udar al-jahl?
It's okay, man.
What's udar al-jahl?
You can be a Muslim
see the ignorant?
and commit shirk. You can associate partners with Allah. Okay, you
Would
can.
Whenever
you
the two
shirk?
of you are done with your measuring tools, maybe we can put them away. I
I'm done.
guarantee you
I'm ready to hear his answer.
it's not going to get us anywhere.
Okay.
We have a prompt. We have a debate. I'd love to get back
He's
to
already
it.
gone off the prompt.
No, I didn't. I'm right here. You're
Okay,
struggling
now,
with
once again,
this.
I'm not struggling at all.
Okay.
Your ignorance, when you said you're a sheikh and you said I'm doing shirk and I'm a mushrik, not understanding what dawabit takfir even is. You don't even know what the word means. If a Muslim does shirk but he's ignorant of it, he's forced by it, there are many dawabit that he would still remain a Muslim. These are called dawabit takfir, which you
he's
are
forced,
ignorant
why do you do it by
of.
your own free will?
You are ignorant of dawabit takfir. That's why I said even if a Muslim does shirk, we don't say he's kafir, we don't say he's mushrik until those safeguards are put into place, which you are absolutely jahil of. So you do not know, you're not a sheikh, you do not know Islam. Now,
Okay, let me respond to that. Can I respond to that?
I would rather get out of the personal insults, preferably, and get back.
Well, this is all religious. This is all religious.
Okay, but it was all based off of some kind of
That's
insult
true.
that interrupted when he was trying to answer the yes and.
It was just a
Okay, so I would
disbeliever.
love to get back to the original prompt if you gentlemen
Okay.
don't mind, because this personal insult stuff can go off screen somewhere else.
Okay, so can I reiterate that?
The question? Do you
Yeah.
need the question right?
we
Yes.
already answered
Yes,
it,
he
so
does.
I don't know why we're redoing it over and over.
Well, you were saying yes and then he said
So
something.
I can finish
and
with
then
yes and.
No, but
And then you were on an insult.
Let me reiterate this point.
Re-ask the question. It had
Yes.
to do with the
With the titles of Allah, and he's saying, and so this is why I said this. This isn't a personal insult. If you, according to Islam, attribute the names and attributes and titles of Allah to any of his creatures, then you have committed shirk. You have associated a partner with him, and you are no longer a Muslim. Now, if you what you just
Where
said
did
is
you get this from?
I'm
According to
from your
Islam,
Quran.
where?
From your Quran.
Which ayah?
We'll
show me
do
that.
this in a second.
No,
We can
how
talk
are you
after
gonna
that.
just
Can I
make it
speak?
seem like
Can I
that?
speak?
Hold on, let me
speak, please.
Get
Let me
to
finish.
the point of
Yes.
you asked a very specific question
Yes.
before we went off guards.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
trying to get there. So, for example, Allah is called the first and the last. Can anybody be identified as the first and the last unqualified? I'm not saying putting it in a context of I'm the first and last of my parents. No, in a general absolute sense, when they say I am the first and the last, would that be shirk? Would that be associating partner? Can anyone claim to do this, be this, and it not be blasphemy? Yes or no? And then explain.
That's a
Again,
good
so he made a point earlier, and then he went to a yes or no. So he's jumping off
he's
of
asking
it.
the
No.
question.
First thing,
hold
first
on.
thing,
He qualified to. There was a condition built into asking the question. I'll allow it. The question is a yes or no, right? So you can offer a qualifier for it, but he asked the question right there at the tail end. That's what I'm looking for.
Al-awwal wal-akhir in the Arabic context, being used without any qualification can only be used for Allah. Now, having said that, I will address. First thing, you said the Quran says that, and you have not given us a verse. You're lying on the Quran.
I'll give you
Secondly,
that verse.
go ahead. What is it?
It's in chapter 4 where Allah says that He will not forgive shirk. And if you don't forgive shirk, if he doesn't forgive shirk, you're not a Muslim.
You see how he
because
jumped
won't
from it.
forgive you.
Earlier he said, no, this is what
this
he's
isn't
taught.
on the prompt anymore.
Can I
You guys are
speak?
giving me a run for my money.
Okay, now earlier he said
Now you're
that
not on the
if
prompt
you
anymore.
use any of the
commit
names of
shirk.
Allah, like Ar-Rahim, Ar-Rauf, and so on, for anybody else, the Quran says you're mushrik. Now he doesn't have a verse for that.
I just did.
No,
I just
you
gave it
did
to
not.
you.
That's just saying shirk. That is not saying if you give one of the names which are not unique to Allah to other than Allah's creation.
Is that shirk?
That is not shirk. I explained that already. The Prophet is called Rahim in the Quran.
Is he called Al-Rahim?
He can be called Ar-Rahim as well in certain contexts.
Muhammad can be called Al-Rahim?
Again, you're jumping off, but you do
I'm
not have a
jumping
verse.
off.
Show me the verse from the Quran that you said that
Yeah.
if you take any of those names
Yes.
and give them to the creation,
Yes.
it is shirk.
Yes, okay. I
Go
just
ahead.
gave it to
Show me
you.
the verse.
So,
That does not say
really,
that.
can I
That verse
finish?
does not say that.
Brother, you asked me a question.
That verse does not say
Okay,
that.
that's cool and all. Let me.
You did ask him a question. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. So the verse in chapter 4, ladies and gentlemen, says
What's the
that
verse?
there's one sin that Allah does not forgive, and that is shirk. For those who do not know what shirk is, like I guess Uthman doesn't, shirk is when you associate a partner with Allah. What does that mean, y'all? That means when you equate someone with Allah, when you give names and titles that are attributed to Allah, uniquely to Allah, to a creature, to anyone other than Allah, in His lordship, in His attributes, in His names, you are associating a partner, which is i.e. shirk. So when He says, hey guys, there's one sin that I will not forgive, that is shirk. When you associate a partner with me, naming someone a creature, attributing them names or qualities or attributes that belong only to Allah, to a creature, is shirk, which takes you out of Islam. Allah won't forgive you, and you did that today. You might as well come to Christ. Now, let me land this too.
Come on.
Okay? I'm getting back to the point.
No.
Hold on.
Can you?
Hold on. Yeah, let me finish my thought. So in all of this, like you just said, for example, that Allah being identified as the first and the last, this is something unique to Him. No one can be attributed this name and title. So now, when we go to the Bible, and Jesus identifies Himself, He says, I am the first and the last, the beginning and the end, the Alpha and Omega, specifically first and the last. Can you agree that by Islamic standards, that when Jesus claims to be the first and the last, that He's claiming to be God Almighty?
Are you done?
Yes, no?
Okay.
Please expound.
No. And now I will expand. First off, what's the verse in chapter 4?
Thank you, 48.
You didn't know it, huh?
Okay, no,
I got you. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not forgive association with Him, but He forgives that which is less than that. Now, earlier, what he's caught in the lie of is he says the Quran says that if you take any of the names of Allah and give it to the creation, then that is in the Quran, you're a mushrik. The verse does not state that. He lied.
That's not what
First
I
off, he's interrupting now.
You
No, I did not. I'm going to speak if you don't mind.
Okay, if somebody
Now,
please just
that is a lie, right? Secondly, you called me a mushrik without even understanding the wabit of shirk, the wabit of takfir. You're absolutely ignorant of it, and even here you're ignorant of it, because there are asma al-husna that can be used for the creation, and any book, a beginning book of aqidah on asma al-husna, if you picked up, you would have known that. But there are those that are unique to Allah, and the way it befits Allah is unique to Allah. So for example, Allah has a yad, and if we were to say, oh, you have a yad, that doesn't make me a mushrik. Allah's yad is unique to Him. So that does not make me a mushrik. You have a hand, Allah has a hand. Saying that those two exist does not make me a mushrik. You're absolutely ignorant of tashbih. Now, let me finish now.
Your time.
Now, when you go to the Alpha and Omega, that is not awwal and akhir.
I said first and the last, not Alpha and Omega. That's what I'm focusing on.
Okay. Let's be mindful.
Again.
Let's be mindful. Let him finish through his thought. You want a pen? You can write down some notes.
No, it's okay.
So once again, when you take something that is in the Arabic language and you try to associate with something else, for example, Alpha and Omega in the Greek alphabet is the first and last of the alphabet. In other instances, you can say somebody is the first and the last. If I was to say that Michael Jordan is the Alpha and Omega of basketball, he is the first and last of basketball, that is not the same as saying awwal and akhir in the Arabic language. So for you to say that because of the Arabic awwal and akhir, that means nobody but Jesus could be called God by being called that, is equating apples and oranges. Secondly, I have not made the point of the Bible saying that Alpha and Omega are first and last. My point that he still hasn't addressed, the original points, was the verses in the Bible that clearly shows that Jesus is not God, because He calls out to a God, even post-resurrection.
Okay, so Sheikh Uthman, I need you to, for the sake of this argument, brother, please track what I'm asking you, man. I'm not asking you about in general, with qualifications. I actually made it clear so that you wouldn't waste our time talking about, well, if I said Michael Jordan is the first and the last in basketball, that's a qualification. Whenever you say in this or of that, you're qualifying it. I'm specifically talking about unqualified, which you said only God can be identified unqualified as the first and the last. So yes or no on this, so I can build my point. When Jesus says,
can I say yes or no on the point?
Yes, I need a yes or no on this because I'm building my point on this.
You're asking the question.
Yes. When Jesus says, I am the first and the last, does He qualify it? Yes or no?
Can you give me the verse?
Revelation chapter 22, verse 13. He says, I'll read it for you. He says, I am the first and the last, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Does He qualify when He says, I am the first and the last?
Revelation 22 what?
He just read it to you.
No, I just quoted it to you,
I'd like to see it from my own Bible.
Okay. Verse 13. You go open all of them.
Revelations 22.
Verse 13.
13. Okay. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last.
Does He qualify first and last? Yes or no?
He does not.
Thank you. All right. Okay. So He doesn't qualify.
Remember, he's running the line of logic. These are yes or no's, but that means you got to do yes or no's. Okay.
Absolutely. So I asked him for yes or no to build this point, and I'm gonna give it over to you. Okay. So remember, you said when I asked you, can anyone claim to be the first and the last unqualified, and it's not a claim of being God? Can anyone claim that unqualified? You said no, that belongs to Allah alone, God alone. So Jesus here, as you just admitted, unqualified, claims to be the first and the last. So by your own admission, can you admit that even by Islamic standards, Jesus claims to be God?
Absolutely not. I mean, you can laugh track all you want, but that's okay. Now, once again, you're taking something that is in one language and equating with a different language. Whether you're saying qualified or not, if I tell my wife you're the first and the last, doesn't mean that she's God. That shows shows my love for her. Absolutely, you're the first and the last. So for me, she is no problem with that. Understanding Greek context, understanding that the clarification here of Alpha and Omega here in the verse that you quoted, that's why I wanted to bring the verse up myself as well, shows that this is not what we would consider awwal and akhir in the Quranic context. For example, let me finish. If you're trying to take something from an Islamic concept and try to prove the Bible by it, that's just not going to work. In Islam, for example, if you say God has a son, that by itself would be rejected. In the Bible, obviously that's used all the time. And if in Islam somebody says, for example, God, like you were talking about, God came in the form of a man, that would be shirk by itself. So you cannot take awwal and akhir from the Quranic aspect and try to put it with the biblical aspect. The Bible has many things that would not work with that concept to begin with. For example, many gods being referenced. For example, gods being judges. For example, many people being sons of God. None of that would work. So if you were to show me in Islamic context awwal and akhir, that's different. But seeing the first and the last in a biblical context is not the same. So those two do not match. And my answer is clear to you now.
No, it's not. So watch this. When you said that the first and the last, the first and the last in Islam, in the Quran, is different from the first and the last in the Bible, because that's why. Can you tell me?
I did not say that.
Okay,
I did not.
Listen, Uthman, I'm gonna give you a chance, brother. You got all the time in the world. Can you tell us very intricately, with verses and references, what is the difference when Allah claims to be the first and the last in the Quran, and when Jesus claims to be the first and the last in the Bible? What's the difference?
Absolutely. First thing, I didn't say just why, so don't put words in my mouth. Thank you so much. Stay out of my mouth. Now, secondly, we're talking about two absolutely different languages.
What's the difference?
Please don't interrupt me.
He's getting there.
Okay. We're talking about two absolutely different languages that use language differently. So you cannot take something from one language and bring it into another language. For example, the word son, as you have seen in the Bible, it has been used for other than even Jesus, right? Sons of God. That could never work in the Quran. So if I was to say, because in Islam, Allah has no son. Son is not used.
So it means the same thing.
Can I
Sorry, you know what? I'm doing my bad.
It does not mean the same thing, because here, obviously, because you are using an Islamic context into the Bible. Just like the Bible's language would not work in the Quran, you cannot take the Arabic of the Quran and try to bring it in the Bible. Those are two different things. In Hebrew, in Greek, certain terms are used in certain ways for other than God, other than even the pious people and so on, that would not be in Islam. So when in the Quran it says Allah has no sons, if you were to say, if you bring that in the Bible, would that mean that these are not sons? Well, as you know, in the Old Testament and even in the New Testament, son is used as a term of endearment. That's why they're sons of God, whether they're angels or pious. That would not work in the Arabic language, but it did in Hebrew and in Greek and so on. So I do not say that the awwal and akhir of the Quran can be used in the Bible. They're two different languages that do not correlate.
Okay, so
that is not just why.
Okay, but yes, it is. It's because that's why. What you look, Uthman, I'm gonna break down what you just did. You just said it's different languages. That's why it's different. That's
once again.
Hold on.
I'm gonna let you speak.
Yeah, thank you. I let you get it all out. So I'm about to break this down to you in very, very simple terms. I'm gonna give you examples, since you love to use examples. Allah says He does not beget or is begotten. When He says He does not beget, but when Jesus says that God for God so loved the world that He sent His only begotten Son, or in Hebrews chapter 1 where it says about Jesus, today I become a father to you. Today I have begotten you. Let me just ask you, yes or no, because I'm building my point. When it says today I have begotten you, can that language be used in the Quran? Yes or no?
That's an easy yes or no.
No problem, but I'm going to clarify that, right?
No, it's a yes or no.
Can it or can it not?
It cannot.
Thank you.
And I cannot be told you can't clarify your point.
Hold on. He's finishing the line of logic. Let him finish it.
Yes.
It's a line of logic. These are how line of logics work. It's a yes or no. I see. I understand it. I know what he's doing right now in terms of trying to get there.
See, even the mind gets it. All right. So that language cannot be used in the Quran. But wait, I thought it's different. It's a different language. So what about begotten in the Arabic? Wouldn't that work? But no, he rejects it. He rejects all these terms. He rejects sonship in any sense. He rejects being begotten in any way, shape, or form. He rejects these terms. It doesn't matter what language you use. If I say in Spanish that Allah is begotten, guess what? I'm a mushrik. I'm a disbeliever, right? So according to you, when you say, oh, the language is different, so therefore it doesn't mean the same, according to what? When I say Allah and I say Dios, do that mean the same thing?
And let's
It
do
does
this.
not.
And let's do this.
No,
I'm
no.
going to let you do your response, and then we're going to maneuver into some final statements. So then we'll go to you and then you. But yeah, I want you to have one more
Absolutely.
response to that, and then you build your final into that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. If you were to say Allah and Dios, it would not be the same thing. Even though sometimes the word Dios is used for translation, even the word God does not befit Allah, because God has gender. For example, goddess, and Allah is unique to that. I'm going to speak now.
I haven't interrupted. I have not interrupted.
Now, once again, so the childish attitude here is pathetic, where you would say that just because one word has the same meaning in another language, does that mean every word in that language has the same meaning? Absolutely not. So, for example, when you talk about sons of God, in the Bible, there are references where it's not for the begotten. And that is something that, according to Christians and Jews, whether you go to Rashi or others, is a reference to just people for piety or angels, not literal sons. So here, that son would be different in use than begotten son. Here you could say that these were pious people that were close. For example, even in the Arabic language, walad is used for endearment. For example, if I was to say, walad, come speak to me, in endearment, that is used. And that would mean that you are wrong. Your equation is wrong.
Sorry, what does walad
now,
mean?
can I finish? Can I finish?
Just ask for clarity. What does walad mean?
Walad means son.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's a term of endearment.
I got you.
Not of necessarily a physical relation. So even if I told you, Ya walad ta'al, oh child, come here, my son, I don't mean that I literally had intercourse with your mother.
course.
What I mean is a term of endearment. In that sense,
course.
yes, you could use it. But in the sense of actual physical children of God, that would not work. So equating one aspect of one language to another is childish. It's a trick. Now, if we go to the word Dios or God, those words are only represented when somebody doesn't understand the concept of Allah, because the word God does not equate to Allah. God can be used for other than Allah, while the word Allah is unique to Allah. God has gender where it could be goddess. So your Dios example is also wrong. And in the end, should I finish or should I let him?
We'll let him do
Okay,
a
go
final,
ahead.
and then
Go ahead.
So build it into your final, because I know you have a response to that.
Yeah.
Take your time with it. I know. I see where you're going. I know what you want to do. Go ahead.
Okay, so Sheikh, you completely undermined your entire rebuttal when you just admitted that son of endearment, or walid in Arabic, the word for son in English, can be used, I guess, as a term of endearment. It can still work in the Arabic because it means that in a particular context. That's how it defines. So what you just showed me is that words, even in different languages, can still work in the Quran, in the Bible, in other different whatever walk you're coming from. So when you say and by the way, it's also interesting. Anybody can look this up. Look up Revelation 22:13 in an Arabic Bible. Look up Revelation chapter 1 verse 17 in an Arabic Bible. It says the same thing, the same name, the same titles that is said in the Quran. And so when you look this up, his whole excuse of, well, the languages are different, doesn't even work. We were just having fun with that. So by your own admission, let me just work this off to my closing. By your own admission, the unqualified titles of Allah cannot be applied to anyone else. When it's unqualified for Allah, like the first and the last, only God can have those titles. These are your words, not mine. I agree with you, though. And so when Jesus says, I am the first and the last, unqualified, that demonstrates, even by your own standards, that Jesus is claiming to be God Almighty. And what you did is when you saw the problem, you still said no. You said no, because you couldn't admit that even in the Bible, Jesus claims to be God, and your prompt is over.
Once again,
And your final statement, please.
the concept that you brought of son also clearly indicates that languages do not go over equation. This is why I said son as the sense of begotten would not work with the Arabic language, but son in the sense of endearment would. So that means first and last has to be understood in the same manner. When you say first and last in a different language, it works different than awwal and akhir in the Arabic language. Even in that context, you were wrong. Secondly, when you said the Arabic Bible, the childish thing here is the fact that the Bible wasn't written in Arabic. It was written in Koine Greek. So all your actual understanding of the words have to come from Koine Greek, not from Arabic. Those are translations, and they wildly vary because the Arabic Quran is the original language of the Quran. not of the Bible. So Quranic Arabic cannot be understood to understand biblical theological concepts that would be in Greek, and you know that, but you brought that up to show your ignorance. Last thing I will say on this, you did not address any of the points from the prompt, that all the verses that I had mentioned, he didn't address any of them. He just ran on this first and the last point, which that's why I brought up the verse itself, because Alpha and Omega, the qualifiers that are used in there are used for other than God. First and last are used, yes, in the Greek language, Alpha and Omega can be used for other than God. You can Google that.
Show the verse. I'm sorry. Show the verse.
Shake hands, gentlemen. This was beautiful. I love it.
Welcome back, friends. I hope you enjoy the video till the last minute. Respected audience, most of the people, they want debate with Islam. They also want a debate with the Islam, with the Holy Quran, but they fail to recognize that they have their own book, a Bible that is 100% non-authentic. Almighty Allah revealed the books like Torah, Zabur, Injil and the Holy Quran, but with the passage of time people make changes it. And why Almighty Allah has not taken the responsibility of all these books? Because Almighty Allah has revealed the religion of Islam and also revealed the Holy Quran. And for the Holy Quran, Almighty Allah clearly mentioned in the Holy Quran, Al-yawma akmaltu lakum deenakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa razitu lakum al-islam deena. Almighty Allah has selected the religion Islam for you. So remember that Almighty Allah will select the religion Islam for you, and it will be the final religion. Also Almighty Allah clearly mentioned in the Holy Quran, Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. We reveal the dhikr and we will protect it. So it means that the Holy Quran has been revealed by Almighty Allah, and Almighty Allah has taken the responsibility of this Holy Quran. Nobody will able to change the Holy Quran, nobody will able to change it or replace it. So that's why the Holy Quran will be till the day of Qiyamah. So you have watched the debate. This debate was really amazing debate, but remember that debate will not be made successful whenever you become angry or whenever you select a very wrong words or wrong selection. It will cause you damage internationally and locally as well. Whenever you want to do a debate with a Muslim or with a non-Muslim person, you have to be stay within your limit. So that's why Almighty Allah clearly mentioned in the Holy Quran, Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'izati al hasana wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan. You know, whenever you want to do a debate face to face, and you have to be your selection of words, it will be very good, and your selection of words, selection of each and everything, it will be good and it will be okay. And plus you have to accept it that whatever if they have done to you. So with the tolerance, with a good attitude, with a good words, you can clearly win the battle. Like you have watched this video, the Muslim person, he really show calm, and really his selection of words and selection of points, that was really amazing. So respected audience, Almighty Allah clearly mentioned in the Holy Quran, Inna Deena Indallahi al-Islam. The only acceptable religion is Islam, and without Islam it will not be entertained. Plus Almighty Allah clearly mentioned in the Holy Quran, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best ummah. You will have to order the people to do good, and you will have to stop the people from doing bad. So this will be okay, and this will be the final destination for you. So that's why whenever there is a battle with the Holy Quran or with another book, the Holy Quran will obviously win the battle. Why? Because the Holy Quran is from Almighty Allah. I hope you enjoy the video. If you like the video, subscribe the channel and share it with your friends.